Hello and welcome back to Linus Nunchuck, where today I'll be reviewing the Dark Monk Studio Nunchucks. Before we begin, I would like to mention that these nunchucks were sent to me to review by Dark Monk. However, because this is not a sponsored video, I'll be giving you my completely honest opinion on these nunchucks and reviewing them fairly. While these are made by a fairly small company here in the US, you may have heard of them before because they're featured by other nunchuck artists. I'll be breaking up this review into 3 different parts. The first part is what these nunchucks are made of, by describing the materials and the fit and finish of these chucks. The second part is how they feel while spinning, like their performance and how they compare to other nunchucks. And the third part is who these nunchucks are intended for and whether or not I would recommend them. So let's get started with what they are made of. These are nunchucks that are held together by a cord and have a upper grip section, which is where you'll typically be holding onto the nunchuck, and a lower section which has more padding and is heavier. The cord is attached to the nunchuck at the top with a seamless cap that holds it in place and allows the nunchucks to be fastened away without having a seam or a metal piece sticking out of the side. The grip portion of the nunchuck is a firm and hard rubber material that is very grippy, and it will allow you to grab on your nunchucks very easily, and in my experience has been very good for performing throws and all sorts of other moves. The end part of the nunchuck, so the second grip portion back here, is also a rubber material, but it is much softer and it is covered in this type of felt material to keep it in place. The end cap and this middle portion are covered in what feels like a pretty durable tape that can also be customized with a variety of colors which they have listed on their website. At the very end, there are these soft rubber caps that are pliable and keep the rest of the nunchuck in place. There is no ball bearing at the end of the nunchucks at the string part. They are attached with this plastic piece that holds the string in place and will allow the nunchucks to rotate in that way. The cord itself is what I would consider a pretty standard thickness for premium nunchucks, which is definitely a lot thicker than your beginner nunchucks, which have a much thinner cord, which is of a much worse quality than this one. According to the manufacturer, this cord is extremely durable and will last a long time. This is the part of the video where I thought that I would have to tell you that because these nunchucks are handmade by a small company, they don't quite have the same level of finish as other nunchucks made by larger corporations. However, I was really impressed with the overall feeling of these nunchucks and how robust and sturdy they feel. You can really see that they put a lot of thought and great materials into making these nunchucks super solid and robust. So overall, the build quality of these nunchucks really blew me away. This leads us directly into part 2, which is how these nunchucks feel. Because of the end heavy weight distribution of these nunchucks, they're more oriented towards flow than they would be towards high-speed, fast nunchuck maneuvers. Compared to lightweight, high-speed nunchucks like these performance nunchucks, they require a lot more energy to get the nunchuck spinning, but they have a lot more momentum to them once you have them spinning. This momentum leads me to my next point, which is that these nunchucks feel easy to spin. What I mean by easy is not necessarily that if you don't know nunchucks and pick these up, that you'll learn nunchucks faster, but what I do mean by easy is that if you're already competent with nunchucks and pick these up, I think you'd be surprised at how quickly you'll be able to adapt to them and how easily you'll be able to perform moves like throws. I find these nunchucks an absolute joy to use when performing throws because of the weight behind them, as opposed to more finicky and lightweight nunchucks like these performance ones. This ease of use of these nunchucks is the part that impressed me the most, because normally there's a learning curve associated with going to a new nunchuck, but because of how these are able to maintain momentum, they make it a lot easier to perform moves like throws. Because of the dual grip style of these nunchucks, so I have this upper part and the lower part, the lower part can be more forgiving, whereas the upper part is great for grabbing. I would consider them to be less forgiving than your typical all-foam nunchucks, but more forgiving than other types like wooden or metal. I truly mean it when I say that I love the feel of these nunchucks. I love it so much so that I can see myself using these a lot in the future. So let's get into part 3, who these nunchucks are for. I would say that these nunchucks are intended for more of an intermediate and above level of nunchuck spinner. At a current price point of $65 US, this will likely not be your first set of nunchucks. Someone who's just starting out and does not even know if they're interested in nunchucks will probably tend to a much less expensive chuck. And I would not necessarily recommend these for starting out because they are less forgiving than your typical foam nunchucks. In the space of professional nunchucks like these $100 or these $200 nunchucks, the $65 price tag of these becomes a lot more reasonable. So if you're really into nunchucks and are looking for that next step up from your typical foam nunchucks, then these will make an amazing option for you, and I'd highly suggest you go check them out. If you know what you like, you can have them customized to your liking, or have them recommend something for you according to how you spin. So overall, I absolutely love these nunchucks. They have a great quality, great feel, and a great team behind them. So I hope you found this review useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials coming in the future, and go check out some of the variety of other nunchuck related tutorials that I have on my channel.